This is where we hold them! This is where we fight!
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Yo, what's happening?
Trying to have a better technical week than I had last week here. Again, my bad to the people. All I can say again is if you knew what I was going through to even be able to do this podcast on a weekly basis, just to sit here and do this, you would not be giving me so much flack. But nonetheless, I'll take the constructive criticism, and I will apply it, and I will do my best here. So
yeah, I laugh because during the week it's like people have to comment. Oh, your audio is giving feedback. Like, I know, like I understand. We've been getting, we know about the issue, and unfortunately, I'm not a professional tech guy. Like, and you're not even probably even an amateur tech guy. And when stuff goes wrong and you're live, it's really hard to fix it. Like as you're live. And let me say something on this end. I think we've been doing this show now over 7 years, and I could probably count on my hand how many times we've had some kind of audio or technical issue during a live show. So for one show to go bad and to have like all kinds of feedback and all kinds of crap happening, it happens. It's a live show. I don't have the ability to go back and edit what we did when we first started. So it is what it is. But I think we figured it out. To your credit, we got it solved. We logged on early. We took our more technical issues.
It's still an ongoing issue, but I've resolved it. I've resolved it temporarily, we'll say.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, and this is definitely a good show. I think our podcasts after majors are pretty well viewed shows, and especially going on right after a live major is a good show for us because people want to talk about it. There's a lot of stuff goes on during the week as well as on the show that people want to like chime in on, and we do have a lot of stuff to talk about because this was an interesting week and an interesting show. There was a lot of stuff going on between the lane conditions, people throwing plastic again. I think there's a lot of topics that we didn't even really talk about what we're going to talk about. So, it's going to be definitely cool to chime in on some of those things that went down.
No doubt. People in the chat want to know how the leg is.
I didn't bring it up because last time I brought it up, people got on me
I know. And I don't want to focus on something negative, but it's all right. I'm on 5 days. 5 days before 5 days before I get to go back to the doctor, and he tells me he's going to get me walking on it. So
that's good. Hey, you're almost at the finish line.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be probably another 4 to 6 weeks after that until I feel like anywhere near 100%. But right now, honestly, I'll take being able to walk on it without crutches or any kind of major help. So I appreciate everybody reaching out. Several people have reached out to me and just checked in with me, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody in the chat thinking of me, and social media people who reach out. I appreciate that as well. But yeah, all good. I'm hanging. It's a day at a time. It's all I can say. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about, Rob. There is a lot to talk about with this tournament, this week, this event. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to start?
So I posted a comment about a half hour ago on our Facebook page, and I kind of want to start the conversation and ask why the USBC and PBA, and I'm not sure who makes this decision. I don't know, Maybe I see Rashes in the chat. What's up, Sean? Maybe he knows the answer. I think people closer. Why did they go away from having the whoever bowls the 1 seed have to beat the 1 seed only once when last year you had to beat the 1 seed twice? Like, why did they get away from that?
Well, you're saying why did they get away from that, but that change was a departure from how it had been done forever.
Right.
So what are you saying here? Are you saying that you like the other way better?
I kind of do. Me personally. Oh, look at that. The quick switch. I thought we had technical issues for a sec. I'm like, oh no, we logged out. Yeah, there you go. BS 7 pin. That's the easy switch right there. Yes, I do. And I think they made it work last year. So why not make it work this year? They had the same time slot, right? It was still a 2-hour show.
Yeah, I believe last year didn't only 4 people make the show,
which is fine. And they wouldn't have to have that match that they did at the yesterday, right? Where they had well, maybe they would have. It only been take 2 players out of the 4. The bracket would have worked out differently, and I don't really know.
It would work out differently, right? And you might, I don't recall from last year
how
they got down to the 4, but I do remember that I think it was only 4 on the show. Listen, you know me, I'm a traditionalist. I tend to be a historical traditionalist when it comes to this stuff. So I would say, if it was always a stepladder, keep it a stepladder. And if it was only, 1 match for the title, then keep it 1 match for the title. I mean, couldn't you argue that the reward of going undefeated in the bracket is that you get to bowl for the title? You don't have to bowl the match before. You're the 1 seed. That's not a reward in and of itself enough to do things the way that they were done for many, many years and the way that they were done today. Now because they changed it, every year we're going to have a debate about whether it should be 2 wins for the first seed or 2 losses for the first seed. And I don't know.
So I see both sides of it. That's the problem here. This is not just the one-sided argument, Mike, where I'm like, oh, whoever's bowling the 1 seed has to beat them twice. It's not like I'm completely in that corner. I understand your point of it. I'm just asking why they made the change again. Like, why did they go back? They had to be
I understand. Obviously that the answer to that is above our pay grade, but there are people out there who can answer that. So perhaps if somebody's listening that can answer that, or somebody's in the chat that can answer.
So now I want your opinion.
Why do I think they changed it?
No. I want your opinion on if it was up to you to make that decision on having 4 on the show and then having.
Oh no. To me, it would be traditional
step ladder.
It would be 5 on the show, step ladder. I don't want to hear you crying about double elimination. No, that's the bracket to get to the show. Everybody knows the show is different. The bracket winner gets the advantage of being the 1 seed and bowling for the title. What else do you want? And in any PBA event in history, it's always been the same. It's a great position to be in, to be bowling for the title, but you're the guy who has to come in and bowl the 1 game on the pair against somebody who already has some experience on that pair.
Now, hear me out here, okay? Hear me out. I might get really, really in trouble or lit up for this take. But doesn't it seem like with these CW shows, there's more commercials and more like space than normal bowling, like when it was on Fox?
It seems exactly the same. In fact, I think the format is exactly the same.
Well, I mean, like as
they bowl 5 frames, they do a commercial, they come back, they finish the game, they do 2 rounds of commercials, they come back, they start the next game.
Well, that's my kind of issue, is that they were doing 2 rounds of commercials between matches. And I think if you wanted to add an extra game into that, you could, but obviously you worry about TV and advertising and all kinds of stuff that I don't have any control over. But it does feel like there's a lot of commercials in between the matches themselves. Now, I don't know if that's like for TV purposes, practice advertising, all that stuff. These are all things that I don't know about. But I do feel like there is an opportunity to add an extra game in if they wanted to. They would probably just have to cut out some of those commercials. And now I'm just talking out of my ass, but you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I don't really notice that.
You don't notice all the commercials in between matches?
I do, but like I said, to me, it seems like the same format. It doesn't seem all that much longer.
Yeah. Lucas,
Lucas is in
I
the
understand.
chat. What's up, Lucas?
I get it. I'm just saying, like, okay, I'm disagreeing with you. I'm going to take the stance where I think whoever is bowling the 1 seed should beat the 1 seed twice, and there is an argument for it because they did it last year. So there is a side of it that people understand why that has to happen. EJ averaged what 260 for how many matches?
We have to talk about
for how many matches? He averaged 260 for how many matches, right? And people are saying like, well, then there should be a 3-game total on TV. Maybe. I mean, maybe. I wouldn't have a problem with that. They have enough hours of TV time where they could maybe make that happen. In the previous, like, Fox deals, they had so much TV time they didn't even know what to do with it. I would be okay with the final 2 matches being on TV and having 3-game totals, and then having the winner.
That's too much. That's too many games. That's too many total games to do that. Like, in order to do that, you would either have to just have the 2 finalists, and that's it. You get one person from the loser's bracket against the person from the winner's bracket. They bowl a 3-game match, and I'll be honest, I'd be okay with that. Yeah. Give us some extra time in between to bet on the next game, and they have to take a little break in between games. Listen, I'd be totally okay with that. That would be a good switch. But here's my problem, though. It's never been done that way. It's my problem. It's always been the same. Bowling is a historical sport, folks. Like, how are we just going to ignore the history of how it's always been done in that regard? Like, I don't think you can do that. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I will say I'm not okay with that. I think that you do it the way it's traditionally been done. And that's how it's done. That's how Belmonte won 3 in a row. If somebody else wins 3 in a row, it should be through the same format. That's it.
Yeah, but didn't we talk about previous to this year that they have to try to change some things and do things differently?
Now, wait a second. Hold on a minute.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So people are going to say, "Oh, all right, this is the guy who says you need to change."
100%.
No. I'm not saying change the formats. I'm saying change the presentation. Okay, which, by the way, I kind of liked the show today. I liked the vibe of the show today. I liked how they had a lot of people in the background with the lights dimmed. And did you hear people yelling at each other? People were yelling at each other, and like, a couple people got into it in the crowd right before EJ was throwing those shots. So listen, understand where I'm coming from. Okay. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to the formats of the events and how they're bowled. I want to see changes in how these are presented. Right? Now, if somebody comes up with a really out-of-the-box idea, like take the winner, the survivor of the loser's bracket and the winner bracket, and have them bowl a 3-game match on TV, and the loser's bracket person perhaps has to win twice. If they win the first one, they have to win again. If they find a way to get it done in that regard, okay, fine. I might be okay with that. But having them, to me, the people who say, "Oh, it's not right, the stepladder's not right, they should have to lose twice," well, don't you have a problem with it only being 1 game? The whole format is 3 games. So now it comes down to 1 game, but having to lose 2 1-game matches makes you feel better about having to lose 1 1-game match, even though the whole format was 3 games the whole way. I don't get that argument. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. I hear what you guys are saying. I totally get what you're saying, but I just do not see it that way. I just do not see it that way.
What if they came up with a solution like this? Because there's always 4 games bowled on a step ladder.
Right.
What if they bowled a 3-game match, and then let's just say for this instance, Boog beat EJ in the 3-game total? Then would you have a problem with them doing the second match as a 1-game match?
Oh, yeah, that's even worse. That's even worse. Yeah, that's even worse to me. That's even worse.
Okay, because obviously I understand that, like, the PBA, the USBC, they have a time schedule for TV. They have commercials, and they have to revolve their formats around the TV, right? That's just always been like that. How many times have we seen like tournaments where there's 48, 60 games bowled, and then it comes down to 1 game, comes down to even a 1 ball roll off, right?
Yeah, somebody in the chat said, "What about people who've led the U.S. Open by 600 and then lose?"
Yeah, and even like 1 ball roll offs we've seen like for matches and for tie, right? Like that is even crazier, and that's just the way TV is. But I just wanted to bring that up because they did it last year, Mike.
Yeah, Scott Camp. I said the same thing. You know, like historically, traditionally, the reward of being the undefeated person in the bracket is you only got to bowl 1 game for the title. If that's not enough of a reward, then I'm sorry. You know, I just want to see. I want to see it done that way.
Okay, well, fair point. I just wanted to bring that up and hear your thoughts. Like I said, it's for me, it's either or. I just was curious because they did it last year, so I thought it was going to be this year, and I had to look it up and be like, oh wait, they changed it from last year, and I don't know if it was why it was changed, or I don't even know if it was even brought up or anybody even talked about it. I would have liked even them, like the commentators, like to Kyle, to bring that up and be like, hey, remember last year? Kyle, Simon had a bowl Gary, and like this is what happened, and then Simon beat Gary. Like I just would have loved for them to bring it up and to maybe explain like that this is not what they're doing. It changed, but no one brought it up. It kind of just got swept under the rug a little bit, I think.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
you know, we talked about last week Born to Bowl, and we talked about. I said, if people heard me anyway through all my technical problems, that I would love to see like a Born to Bowl as a lead up to each PBA event, or a wrap up to each PBA event, sort of like a Hard Knocks, like where you're present in that week, right, at some point, and then there's a game or the finals at the beginning or the end of each week, however you want to do it. And I feel like the Masters is probably the best event to do something like that with, if they ever wanted to try that, because you could really tell the story, right? And then when you get to the end, if you only had 2 players on the show, if you had an hour Born to Bowl type situation that led into that show, say a couple nights before that show airs, right? People would understand how these 2 players got there, right? So yeah, the Masters kind of fits that to me. All right, let's move on to a different topic here. Yes, can we go down a different road?
sure.
Let's talk about the unfortunateness that EJ Tacket didn't win. All right, I'm going to give Boog his shine. Please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not hating on Boog. I'm not burying the lead here purposefully. But you already brought it up that EJ averaged like 260. It
was like 258, I think.
I mean, it was crazy, bro. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. And to see him lose in that fashion, in a 195 to 196 grind, after the scores were through the roof for most of the week, and he was at the top of that insane scoring pace, right? To see him lose in that fashion was just it was frustrating to me. Like I don't often root for one player or the other to win. I'm sort of just like an observer. Unless Bill's bowling, then I'm sort of like, all right, I'm all in on this one person. Yeah. Other than that, I'm sort of just an observer. But I have to say that, and this is nothing against Boog at all, but today I really wanted to see EJ close this deal.
Grand Slam.
Because it was Grand Slam, and he dominated all week, and it would have put him in the driver's seat most likely for player of the year, right? I mean, we still have the word, maybe not, you could argue not, but if he won today and you're betting on player of the year and you're not putting your money on him, you're probably not making the smartest bet available. And I think he would probably have the worst odds out of all those people, right? And right out of the gate, it gets off to a bad start for EJ. And we'll talk about that match, but I don't know if you felt the same way I did where you wanted to see him close this out.
I got two topics that we need to talk about when it regards to EJ. One, I think EJ is getting into that position where when it was like when Tiger Woods was in his prime and you would root for Tiger because you were just kind of witnessing almost to the point like greatness, right? And you did Tiger, and you know, he's been in the news this week. If anyone saw that meme I posted, I couldn't stop laughing posting that. But when Tiger was in his prime, it wasn't because he was the most likable person. It wasn't because he had all kinds of charisma and personality and character. He wasn't exactly, you know, he had emotion, like EJ has emotion, right? When they win, they, you know, this is my house. You know, EJ can let it loose too. But there comes to a point where you root for the guy because of how great he is. And he's out of this world on a different level than 98% or 95% of the people on tour right now. Like, I mean, it just showed you what the kid can do. And how many games was that, Mike? Total matches did he do that over? Was that 4 or 5 matches?
I think it might have been 6 matches.
18 games? Like, that is just absolutely disgusting. And if anybody like could take, you can't take that away of how great he was this week, right? Here's the other big topic that I think never got spoke about on the show, which I was kind of a little bit disappointed that Kyle didn't bring this up. And I think they brought up in a slight like point, but the history of Thunderbolt, Mike, the history of that Thunderbolt. I bowled a World Series there years ago. That arena lanes they bowl the TV shows on are a little bit of a different world than the main qualifying lanes. That pair is always tighter in the back, and they always, or I should say maybe hooking more up front, whatever. The carry there always stinks. The scores are always low when those arenas those games go on the arena. And I think it definitely was different. And you could tell, like, if they would have bowled the stepladder maybe on the main lanes, probably the scores would have been a lot higher. It's my guess, my speculation. So, yeah, I mean, that's just also something that wasn't really talked about because you have all these guys that are just dominating all week, averaging 250, averaging 2 whatever, winning, and then all of a sudden you get put on a different like side of the building in a sense. It's on the same side. It's just completely on a different level. And then all of a sudden it's a different play. It's a whole new ball game. And the lefties struggled today because of it. And yeah, the scores were low. And I knew that. And it was an easy under bet. Every game was an easy under bet. Now you had to pick who's going to win. That's a different story. But yeah, it's just a different beast. So those are the 2 points about rooting for EJ. I was rooting for EJ. I just, like you said, I mean, he bowled too good this week for him to lose in a 1-game match. And those 2 opens that he started with, I think there was a little bit of nerves probably. Cut it short, made a ball switch, started with a Venom Shock, and he made a quick ball change and went to that Lethal Venom, I think, the red one. And I mean, man, what a good match. And we'll talk about it in the running the ladder. But
yeah, no doubt. Other major ideas that I wanted to kind of jump into here. This last week to this week might be the best redemption story we've ever seen on the PBA Tour.
Oh, I mean,
I can't think of a better story of redemption. I mean, you had Simonelli quite a few years ago he got suspended for some comments on a podcast somewhere. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember that podcast. I don't.
Yeah, no, you don't remember.
No.
So he got suspended, and then
He won.
not too long after that, he came back and won for the first time.
Well, the first tournament after. It was the first tournament after.
Ran the field over, too. I mean, absolutely just like dominated. And that was a really interesting story of redemption, if you want to say. I think of Tom Baker. Winning the world championship and earning a 5-year exemption in the last tournament where he had an opportunity. Otherwise, he was done. I think of Tom Darty, 99 on TV, and then comes back and wins. So, to me, what a story of redemption for Boog. I mean, last week, 130, lowest scoring title match ever, just disaster. Okay. And then comes back here and man, and we will talk about it when we run the ladder, but what did he do? He ran the ladder. And I mean, I couldn't be more impressed. I really couldn't be more impressed, with what he did from last week to this week. What a story of redemption. And you could tell that what happened last week, and I don't know, maybe we can get him on and maybe we can get the chance to ask him this, but I felt watching him that what happened last week contributed to what he did today. I felt like he came in today saying, no, I am going to make every shot count. I am going to make the most of this opportunity. I am going to absolutely take advantage of this as much as I can. And that's exactly what he did. And he just kept putting himself in a position game after game to just stay in it and be there and throw those shots that mattered. And, a couple of the games came down to the final shots and final frames. And he was able to just keep making those shots. And again, I can't say enough about how impressed I was with him today versus him last week.
So this is kind of, I think it was it was Boog's day, right? But I think helped Boog a lot was Boog had a reaction with that asymmetrical plastic ball he was throwing, which I didn't even know they made, to be honest with you. I was the first to ever seen that ball. And he was just literally playing with the pocket. Like that was literally, he looked like he had a pretty good look. If he missed in, the ball wasn't jumping on him because it was plastic. If he missed right, he had some hook right. He had to worry about getting the ball a little bit quick to the right, and the ball would kind of tail off at certain ends, come really light, 2-pin. But I think what my point is here, he was able to stay, his lines were in front of him. He was able to play with the pocket, and at least his first 2 matches, they were having problems. If the lefties, both Sanders and Svensson both had carry issues, right? And it just kind of helped him a lot.
Sanders missed the spare early, and then
think about it. What I'm trying to say is, listen, like every match he had except for the Jones match, like started really slow for his opponents, right? It was
no question. That's what I'm saying. He just hung around.
He hung around, made spares though. What I think needs to really be a point here is how good was Boog's spare shooting today? Like that doesn't get brought up at all. Like everyone thinks about, all the strikes, and she shows Boog spare shooting was on point. He was focused shooting spares. He didn't miss one spare. He left a lot of spares too. I mean, it's really easy to have a brain fart on one shot and miss a 10-pin and lose a match. And he didn't. He stayed in the pocket. He didn't leave any big splits when he did miss, right? There was some carry issues. And when he go through the nose, he would leave some makeable. I don't think, did he open today, Mike?
He left the 4-9 at one point.
4-9, which he almost left against
And then
Jones.
He missed a 10-pin. He missed a 10-pin in the 10th frame of one game, I think.
Yeah, but that was the match was out already. No,
right, it was out.
So he was clean for the most part. He had one open, the 4-9. I mean, to do that in four games, it's hard to go clean 3 of the 4 games or 4. And I don't consider that 10-pin to miss open, right? To me, that's clean. So
somebody said above, he did get out of that ASIM ball after a game, and he did go to a sanded axe. And
Which is
obviously,
crazy. We got to talk about it.
that's something else we're going to talk about.
We got to talk about it.
Do you want to transition into that?
Yeah, because
Okay,
we'll talk about the matches, and we'll go through the matches
after this, we'll run the ladder.
Yeah,
This is definitely something else we have to talk about. I mean, we cannot let this pass by without mentioning this and talking about this. And I know you're just gonna, I'm just gonna say a little bit. I'm gonna ask some questions, I think, and I'm gonna let you talk because I know exactly what you're gonna say, and I know you want to speak on this. I'm sure you have a lot to say about it. So,
what are we doing?
What is going on? Son, what is going on in the bowling world, son? What is going on, son? Ban urethane, okay? I'm just gonna say a couple things. Ban urethane, don't matter. Dudes are gonna take out plastic, sand it, and throw it. Okay, and they're not just gonna bowl okay. They're gonna absolutely maul them and whack them. Okay. And guys are going to manipulate the pattern, doing all this different stuff. And now you have plastic balls that are actually resin balls that hook. And, and all I want to say is this. I'm going to let you talk for as long as you want. The last thing I'm going to say is this. You and I'm sure, if you bowled JBTs in the mid to late 90s, you've probably used plastic in a strike situation at one time or another. Would you agree with that?
I mean, at the high roller, I did it.
I mean, because to me, like if you bowl JBTs, you would always, or college, you would always run into situations where they were so dry that you just knew you could get away with using it, and sometimes you would see guys use it. I mean, I remember Matt Menente used to break out the plastic after game 3 of a 5-game block.
I never had a high enough rev rate. I never had a high enough rev rate when I was a kid.
Okay, but here's what I want to say about plastic. No matter what, I don't feel like it gives you the miss room of other balls, of other types of balls, right? So, like, while we're going to talk about this, let's not underestimate the shot-making capability of the people doing this, all right? Right. In no way, shape, or form am I taking away from that. But go ahead, Rob.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
I'd be curious
how the ball manufacturers feeling. That's another question I want to ask.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear. And I know Nick Hogan was on Bowl TV, and he talked about how he was, he said all the right things, but behind closed doors, if you get into a conversation about it, do you think this is what they had in mind, Mike? I think we have to accept the fact that we are in a different bowling world than we have normally been in or used to. We are in a world now of control. Reaction is king, right? We're done with the whole left to right boomerang days. I'm talking about hard, high level competitive tournaments. I'm not talking about league. Okay, because the boomerang, the high performance balls will always be there for league. Nobody's going to be throwing axes in their league next week. I hope not. If you do, please, for the love of God, take a video and send it to me so they could win rest of the week. I think that we're now in a control reaction age of bowling, and it just shows you like where we are with all the high rev rate players, with the rev rates over 400, 500, whatever, where people are now looking for control over skid snap, over throwing it left, standing left, and throwing it right, like we were used to back when I bowled the high rollers and the mega bucks and all of that, because you didn't have that control urethane, that control. Some of them, these pros were making plastic look unbelievable. I mean, the ball was going into the pins like it was resin or urethane, and it just blew my mind now that these bowling ball companies, or what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing a lot of plastic with a lot of stronger core type bowling balls coming out, at least for the pros and the high level, the junior gold. Like that asymmetrical plastic you saw Boog throwing, that radical ball, the spy, whatever, You're going to start seeing a little bit more of those, I think, than
That's been
you
out
are
forever.
in. Like, the concept looked great. Like, I saw a lot of concepts getting thrown. And Belmo talked about it on Bowl TV, where his start was with a clear plastic.
Stretch
and
the
he
pattern. Then
stretched
go
the
to
pattern.
concept.
Yeah, and he had 3 concepts. He had an early, a middle, and a late hooking concept. And then he was doing that based on. So I think you're going to start seeing a lot of those for the PBA players, but the league bowler stuff is never going to change when it comes to high performance. But what are the bowling ball companies thinking now? Well, they're going to start, like I said, come out with more of those concept balls, but I don't think plastic really came across their mind in a sense, right? Of like, hey, like, are we really gonna be watching now the PBA players throw plastic at majors? Is that going to be the new thing until lane surfaces and oil or pins or something changes from the USBC end? I think you're going to.
Here's what I don't understand.
Lucas said that. Yeah, I got
And I don't know.
don't think it's the goddamn circus.
Nick Hoagland. Let's email us, whatever. I don't know.
I know
Somebody
Nick
reach
Hoagland.
out to us.
I bowl college against Nick Hoagland.
I know. We're all the same age. I understand this, Rob. But here's what I don't understand. If you ban urethane, okay, and you don't want the players really using urethane, why for the U.S. Open and the Masters would you put out a pattern that you even might suspect would allow the players to manipulate plastic and use that as an effective tool? Right? Why wouldn't you go? I just don't like, I had somebody text me today. And it's somebody who's in our chat a lot. It's Lou. Lou, what's good? And Lou was texting with me today during the show, and he had some suggestions about what could be done to kind of curtail this sort of stuff. And my suggestion was very simple. Like, put more oil longer down the lane. And you're not going to be able to use a plastic ball, almost regardless of what grit you make it. And you probably might not even be able to use a urethane ball and have that be very effective. Now, I understand that what the players are going to try and do is take bigger balls, more reactive balls, sand those, break the pattern down, and go from there. I understand that. But I'm saying there has to be a way to oil the lanes in a manner that you can prevent that while also preventing people from using the urethane and the plastic effectively.
So I want to bring this comment up because I'd be curious here. Like, why is plastic bad now? And it's a fair question. Like, why? I understand why they didn't want urethane being thrown, because there was rules and there was oil absorption.
Well, yeah, it's banned from these tournaments anyway, from the U.S. Open and the Masters.
And they didn't ban them because they didn't want the pros throwing urethane. They banned them because, in a sense, they couldn't. They couldn't know if they fell about the hardness, right? We all know the story. And it wasn't because the urethane was boring or it was not fun to watch or this and that. It had nothing to do with that. It was just because they couldn't uphold the hardness, and these balls were getting softer as they were getting thrown. So they said, you know what? We're not going to deal with this shit. We're just going to get rid of them. And I supported that decision. Plastic, the hardness isn't going below a certain number, right? Like, that it's not going to be absorbing oil. Yeah, it's going to be moving it for sure. It's going to be stretching it for sure. It's going to be pushing oil down. It's going to be a ton of carry down. But yeah, I just, like I said last week, when it comes to the plastic, using plastic is a lot harder than using the new urethane. You have to be very, very good with your speed. You have to know when to throw it in the friction. You can't miss in on certain shots because, like, it's gonna like push. It doesn't hit carry down as hard as it's more sensitive to carry down than urethane. But overall,
yeah,
it is.
And I mean, listen, I'm super impressed by it. I mean, I see people using plastic and whacking them the way these guys are, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. I mean, that's just insane to me. It's just insane, But
Clear Wolf.
I don't know how good is it for the game. Maybe I could argue that maybe it's good, maybe it's better. Maybe we should be going in that direction. Maybe it's bowling naturally trying to show us something, that instead of pursuing the more advanced technology, we should be taming things back and going back to plastic balls and shiny shelled plastic balls, and that's all you can use in today's oiling environment. And, but listen, it's here's the bottom line to me, and I can't believe you didn't say this, Rob. I'm going to have to say this, and you didn't say this. In the environment we're in, with all the bowling balls that come out, and all the patch pirates, and all the ball review websites, and all this, and every ball is the best ball ever, and you got to have this ball in your bag, and oh my God, it's the ball of the year, and this and that. And what did this week show us more than anything? That it ain't the ball that matters. It's the bowlers. It's the bowlers. Okay? Put plastic in these guys' hands, and they're still going to find a way to average 250, and run them over in a lot of instances. So, yeah, it's funny to me. It's ironic that when we as a bowling community are at the height of ball madness. Ball production madness, right? We've talked about it. Ball production madness. Pros are winning majors with axes and mixes.
So
it's amazing.
Made me laugh today when I was watching the Storm commercial, and it showed all of the pros who won with a Bionic, and it said the Bionic, it's their new release. Like, is there going to be a commercial like the mix?
The axe,
the hammer, the
axe plastic ball,
axe plastic, won by 5 players. No, of course not, because they want you to buy the Bionic. It's their new release. It's a high performance, but the company don't want the pros to be throwing axes. Mike, Hammer doesn't want them to be throwing axes. Hammer wants them to be throwing no mercies, like Marshall was last week. They want them to throw like their new releases. And the ball company,
maybe not like Marshall last week. He was flagging the head pin with that ball a little bit.
Yeah,
left and right. But I hear what you're saying.
Or he looked great, right? Like, it was tale of two personalities last week, but he still won though.
Right. And how many people are going to walk into a pro shop this week who watch the show and be like, "Hey, I want one of those axes. Sand it down for me." And the pro shop operator is going to have to explain, like, no, you don't. No, because you don't throw like them, and your repetition is nowhere near what theirs is. And no, you absolutely do not want that. No, I want that. He won with that ball. I want to try that out. And they're going to go out and throw.
Alex James, it's a fair point. Jones tried the Effector, and the thing was going sideways. And that, what I was talking about earlier in my whole spiel, is the game now is all about control. Like, these guys, especially guys like Eric Jones, these two-handers, they could loft. They have to control their hook. And the only way to control the hook is by using balls like the urethanes and the 78s and the axes, and they're putting surface. And it to me, like, USBC and the PBA, like, are specifically the USBC, I personally don't think they planned on them using plastic. Honestly, I don't think they even in their mind thought that was going to be an option. I don't. And I think now that they're going to go back to the drawing board for next week's or next year's patterns, I could see them making some changes next year. And I don't know if you'll see the plastics going down the lane next year. I don't think Nick is going to want to see plastic being thrown, but you can't stop the pros from doing what they do, right? And I feel like you can't shut these guys out, specifically with the lane surfaces and where the oil is. I think that these rev rates and these power players are just overpowering these patterns in the way they're supposed to be played. So what a crazy way you're seeing these like clear plastic balls getting thrown in matches. It's wild, Mike. Like you never imagined. Imagine like 5 years ago, you'd get a glimpse of what bowling looked like. Imagine like 10 years ago when we started this podcast, 7 years ago, Mike, in 2019, and some, wizard came down and said, hey, we're going to give you a quick glimpse of what 2026 Masters match looks like, Mike. And you see Belmo throwing a clear plastic against someone using a 500 axe. I mean, what would you say to that? Like, what happened in the last 7 years? Anyway, it's kind of crazy to think about.
All right, let's run the ladder.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it.
All right, Mike.
Boog run the ladder. I mean, that's
Boog ran the ladder.
Boog ran the ladder.
Boog
First
ran the ladder.
match, Matt Sanders comes out flat, misses a 7-pin, leaves a split. Boog was rolling early and often. There ain't much to talk about in that match.
Sanders was nervous. I think missing the 7-pin, and then the one shot really, really caught him, where he went through the nose. And I don't think he big forward, but he left a big split in the middle of that match. And yeah, I don't think Matt Sanders ever got comfortable. And Boog, Boog was doing what Boog did. He just was staying in the pocket. He was accepting he was accepting his fate of the flat 10, I think. And I think there was a good comment on Kyle said that. I think trying to come light was where I think a lot of like what Boog was trying to do, because if you were trying to go really high flush, you were going to leave a lot of 10s. So he was trying to mix it, and he stayed clean, and he won. Yeah. So next match, Boog then bowls. Why am I drawing a blank? Oh, Jesper Svensson.
Yeah.
I got to talk about this match because whenever I get a chance to kind of get on Jesper, I do. We see it in every show, Mike, that Jesper, doesn't win. That he just stays in that like flat 10 or flat 7 like area and just can never get out of it, it seems like. And just kind of almost just flat 7s to death until he just loses. And I think we saw that in this match. Like, I don't think, did he throw a double in this match?
I honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember that well.
But
I know there. I mean, obviously there were some carry issues.
Just yeah, and he's. I would have liked to see him switch or try something, and he didn't, and he ended up losing, and he flat 7'd himself to a loss again. When his ball is facing the right way and he carries, he's unbelievable. Like he don't lose, and he's proven it with majors and titles and all kind. But when he has carry issues, it just seems like he just can't make that adjustment to like get that 7 out. So that's why like I want to transition to Eric Jones' match. Is I didn't mind Eric Jones doing what he was doing.
Well, I think he had to have seen what was going on, right? And probably knew I'm not going to go out there and flat 7 myself to a loss.
Right.
It's gonna take more than 2-0 to beat this guy, and I'm not going to be able to shoot more than 2-0 with a plastic ball, given these current conditions.
Correct.
So he decided to go to the resin and throw that hammer special effect. And man, I mean, it was like example A1 of why these guys throw the more controllable equipment, because that ball was just screaming off the back of the pattern. And when he missed, even by a little bit, the penalty was going to be full price. I mean, he missed right a little bit once, and he went split through the face, and then he missed right significantly again and runaway crossover.
Oh, he missed the hairpin.
Right, I know. Runaway crossover to leave the rail, right? To leave the rail. That was a terrible shot. And yeah, I mean, you could just tell that there was a certain level of uncomfortability with what he had going on in the lane once he left that split. The first 4 frames, man, he executed those shots perfectly. And they looked great, and his confidence was great. But then once he left that split, you could kind of see his confidence and his reaction go down. And listen, we've all been there. If you have bowled, no, actually we haven't all been there, because some of you weak people out there refuse to bowl on tougher conditions. But those that have bowled on tougher conditions with and had a ball reaction like that's really uncontrollable, understand that it gets very, very hard to hit what you have to hit and commit to that to get the ball to do what you want it to do, right? And I felt that's kind of what Erik Jones got trapped in here after those first 4 frames of this match.
Erik Jones was the perfect example of he was trying to out bowl a really sensitive reaction. Like he had only a little bit of room to miss. And when then you look at Boog's reaction, is Boog had a lot of room to miss. And Boog took the route of like, I'm just going to grind these matches out. And when he started out front 4, even the announcers were saying Boog might be in trouble here because he had the front 4 and Boog didn't have the reaction throwing that axe or whatever he was throwing to like outstrike Erik Jones. And then the whole match complexity changed when Erik Jones missed in that 5th frame. And then Boog all of a sudden said, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah, he's making subtle adjustments. He's slowing his ball speed down. He's inching right. He's inching left. Like Boog was making a lot of adjustments in those 4 games, switching balls, doing all that. But he decided that he was going to go down with the ship in a sense, like Jesper did, right? Jesper made that same decision. Now, Erik Jones, who's younger, got a little bit more balls, moxie, said, I'm going down with my ship. Like, I'm going to try to, like, outstrike it, make those shots. And, man, I give Erik Jones, I give him props for not going down the plastic route. I do. I see he decided that he was going to try to win it and try to use a resin, and it didn't work out, and he made some bad shots. And I think he would be the first to say, like, I made bad shots, and I probably would have executed better that match. I probably would have won.
He also got very unlucky down the stretch of that match. There were 2 shots he left. One he left a solid 10. The other one he left a solid 7. And they were 2, I felt, bad breaks.
Yeah, and then Boog in that match against Jones, like, left a 4-9. And then the 9 fell. And that literally was, if he opens there, like, that match is close again, right? So, Rudy, my guy, let's see. I wish he would have laughed a little more in the right lane. I think that would have kicked the 10. Laughed or lofted? Lofted. I mean, I wasn't laughing. I mean, there was some interesting strategies that Jones had on that pattern. Interesting though strategy he took. I'd be curious to ask Erik what other balls in his arsenal that he was debating on throwing other than that effector that was pretty. I wonder if there was anything a little bit smoother, but still performance that maybe he could have used. But I don't know. I'd be curious what else.
So then Boog survives the first few matches, and his reward is he gets to go up against the serial killer Maximus, the EJ Tacket, coming into the arena. And what did we all think was going to happen? We all thought that, EJ Tacket was going to walk in and just right from the jump, just maul Boog Kroll in this situation. Okay. And yeah, really, we saw what the opposite of what we've seen from EJ these last few years, where he came out and, was not his best shots to open the match, and he starts open. Starts open in the match. I mean, and to me, say what you want about how the match ended, but EJ lost the match in the first 2 frames of the match. I mean, you know, come on, let's be real. He gets to come in and he gets to have practice on that pair by himself during the commercial breaks. Okay? And you number one have to be locked into what you're doing. Okay? And number 2, you have to execute in those opening frames. And EJ Tacket would be the first person to say this. You don't get to where he is in the pantheon of professional bowling without knowing that in the title of a major title match of a major, you have to come out and execute from the jump. You can't give your opponent open to start that game. I mean, it's just too much. It's too much of an advantage. It's just too much of an advantage.
Especially someone who won.
Boog didn't even take full advantage of it, right? I mean, he only put up 196. You know, if I would have told anybody before that match started, Boog is going to shoot 196, who you got?
Yeah, you bet. Who they take? 100.
They're taking EJ Tacket 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. Okay, so for EJ to bowl less than 196 in that spot, where your opponent's using plastic and his look is going away, and his look was going away because Boog lost the left lane, if you were really paying attention to that match, because he left the 4-9 on that lane, and he thought it was a great shot. He turned around and said, oh, that was a really good one. So you knew he had to move, and he did. And the next one, which was his first one in the 10th, was way left. Even the commentator who's learning bowling was like, oh, that was way off of his intended line. It wasn't really on his intended line there. Yeah, because it was way left. He was playing them differently. And then in the second ball in the 10th, where he has a chance to shut him out, that same shot did not react the same way. He got it a little bit further right. It was more in, and he got it a little bit further right, and it didn't strike. So him losing that left lane, snake bit him at the end of that match. But yeah, EJ lost the match in the first 2 frames. That's it.
Yeah, Victorial makes a good comment. Still wondered why he picked the right lane to finish. Boog struggled with that lane. I mean, look, I just kind of feel like they were struggling carrying on both lanes. I mean, the lanes were just it was so hard to carry corners. And I mentioned earlier in the show that arena, those lanes, it's kind of felt like it's always been like that in previous shows that have been bowling down in that arena. And it's always been known for hard carrying compared to, at least when they bowl the main matches in the upside of the house. EJ, after he threw that first shot in the 10th and he struck and his ball went through the pins, probably the best I've seen it go through the pins. I think that might have been even his best shot. Like, I thought he was winning that. I thought he was doubling there. And I mean, that's just how bowling is, Mike. Man, how many times have you... It didn't look like he threw that much of a different shot, too, in the 10th. On that second, maybe got a little bit harder on the speed. And you see what happens when you got a little bit faster. And I'm talking like fractions of harder, right? You flat 10 in a sense. And it wasn't even like it was a stone 10. Could have been kind of, I don't know, in between a stone and a flat 10. But man, I mean, what a great match, though. Entertaining look, when a live professional bowling match goes down to the last shot, that is all you can ask for as a fan, right? When there's so much on the line, $100,000, a major, Tacket's bowling for his Grand Slam. He's never had a Masters title. Boog has never had a major, right? So much on the line, and it comes down to the last shot, Mike. You couldn't ask for a better finish, in my opinion. I thought it was a great match. I thought it was a good show. I the bowling aspect of it, even though there weren't high scores, trying to figure out these guys to try to figure out how to carry and kind of accepting the fate that you're going to leave a lot of corners and just make them and move on. And that's what Boog did, and Boog won. So
How about this comment? Robert Sueno says, hot take, 1-game stepladder finals are what kill professional bowling when it comes to TV ratings. All right, what would you like to see, Robert? That's what I would say. That would be my question. Charlie, what's up, Charlie? Saying EJ had ball in hand. Charlie, I know, I understand, I get it, and I totally understand where you're coming from there. But again, do you really expect somebody like EJ Tacket to start the final of a major open? I mean, really, open. You know, that's shocking. It's shocking, really. It really is. I just couldn't get over that. Definitely, I expect a player of EJ Tackett's caliber to come out and be a shark with blood in the water.
By the way,
to be a Freddy Krueger sneaking up on you in your nightmares when you're sleeping. Okay, not to come out and go open.
But by the way, is the baby split like the hardest freaking thing to shoot at? When would you rather? Let me ask you a question. If you had a choice between shooting a 3.6910 or a baby split for a major, what would you choose?
Oh, I'll take the baby split every time.
You choose the baby.
Yeah, the baby split's not that bad to me. I used to tell my high school players, the baby split is just the 3.610 made properly.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
That's all it is. It's a 3.610 made properly. Like, if you can consistently make a 3.610 properly, then you should have no problem making a baby split. But a 3.6910 can get really complicated, especially, you know, given what you're bowling on, depending on what you're bowling on. But
that's interesting because I think I'd rather shoot the 3.6910. I hate the baby split so much. Right. I hate the baby split so much. I remember when I was practicing a lot, I was trying to like back up the ball to like shoot a baby split. So I just can't stand shooting the 3.6910. That's just I can't shoot. Actually, I hate them both, Mike. Let's just never leave them.
No doubt.
Anyway, all right, let's go do some awards.
All right, let's do it.
Let's see. All right, Mike. Let's go through some of the rides with, and I'm gonna leave some of the other ones. So let's ride with and not ride with. Who am I riding with? I kind of want to ride with Matt Sanders, and I'll tell you why. One, he made a major show. He's had his struggles. I didn't know about that injury. I don't know if you knew about it. What happened to him? That he had some kind of injury when he was moving and something fell on his leg. And
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and they even, you know, I don't know if the injury was as bad as they made it seem like on TV, that they even thought that he was never going to walk again for a little bit, which is, I mean, really scary, especially for somebody who makes a living bowling. So I kind of, you know, you talk about a little bit of a redemption that Boog had from TV to TV, like show, like making a major show. And he was very emotional, I know, when he did it on Bowl TV. And yeah, I think he's got to be happy with how things went this week, obviously. So yeah, I'd probably want to ride with Matt this week.
I mean, to me, there's really only one person to ride with.
I know, but I don't pick the people who win.
I know, but in this instance, I gotta shout him because it's Boog and
the booger,
it's
the
redemption,
big booger.
Man. It's redemption. You didn't want to ride with him last week. You got to ride with him this week. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just have to say it. I know it's chalk. I know that it's very chalky and very expected, and we try not to do that with our picks on these things. But yeah, I have to say, you know, I gotta ride with him on this one.
Okay.
You know, just because of the redemption story.
Yeah.
The idea that, you know, hey, he had the lowest score, you know, lowest total score in a title match last week to lose, and comes back and runs the ladder with some serial killers in it for his first major in 100 Gs. Tell me my man ain't feeling good.
He's feeling real good, and
he's feeling real good. We're gonna go somewhere mad good to eat. He's paying for everything. I mean, that's gonna be
Boog is a
a
good
great
dude
ride.
too. I knew Boog when he bowled the Tats. I'd run into him, have conversations with him before he was leaving on tour. Boog's a good dude. If you knew Boog, he's just a good dude. He's real friendly, real outgoing, just real positive type person. So I like, but Boog's good people. So yeah, it would be a fun ride for sure. We probably have a lot of laughs and a lot of good time. Yeah, I mean, Mike, I can't ride with EJ this week. I can't do it because
Okay,
this is
you're
the
kind
guy
of
who
going chalky there.
I am, because this kid averaged 258 and went complete serial killer mode to then needing one strike to get his grand slam and probably lock or be really close to player of the year this year again, which he probably still already is front runner. But man, it's like that one shot he's got to be kicking himself. And he's probably what you were saying about those first two opens. He's probably more kicking himself for those two opens than he is on how he finished, right? So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a fun ride with EJ, honestly, at least for the first couple hours. But I think a guy of his caliber and where he is in his bowling career, I could see him also like kind of getting over it pretty quick because he knows he's going to get him. He knows he's going to get him. He's got a lot of tournaments left. The World Series hasn't even started yet, and that's usually a tournament that he completely crushes. So yeah, he'll be there. He'll probably win Player of the Year this year. I'll be really shocked if he didn't. But I mean, I don't want to ride with him at least for the first hour of that ride, Mike.
I can't ride with Tim Foy this week.
Yeah. Oh.
Love Tim Foy, dog, friend of the show, but I can't ride with him this week. And the reason is because in the one tournament of the year where you really, really just want to make the cut and get in, because anything can happen, he missed the cut by 4 pins over 15 games. And that's in the spot he's in with as good as he's been bowling. I'm sure his expectations were that he was going to make this cut and possibly make a run in this tournament. And yeah,
he's good match play bowler too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tough.
He's a good match play bowler.
You want to draw him in a bracket even if he's 63
No,
or 62? I don't want to draw him.
No
I
way.
do not want to draw him, especially if we're throwing axes and plastic balls for strike shots. I do not want to draw him.
It's a good point. He's very good.
That's what I'm saying. Like he had to be a little fried at not making this bracket because that's somebody that if I would have saw him in a 62 or 63 spot, right? Because obviously Gary Haynes takes the 64th spot. That's somebody I definitely would have been betting on.
Yeah, Terry brings a very, very good point too. Foy bowled like a 170-ish the last game too to miss it by. Oh man, that's just brutal. You're right. That's a tough one. It's a good pick. It's a good choice. Here's a good comment. Robert Swino, Masters takes place during March Madness. How do they not push filling out brackets for match play? That's so much excitement. Bone shooting 300, almost pulling a 100-pin deficit. I completely agree. I'm surprised that the PBA at least wouldn't run a March Madness type tournament for the bracket. And once the bracket gets announced, like have people fill it out and then give a pretty good prize for it, right? I think that would be a pretty cool thing for them to do. But we all know how that goes. I'm not riding with Tiger Woods. That's what Jim Grish says. I'm not riding with Tiger either. I don't understand if you have that much money. Why don't you just hire a driver? I just never understood that. Get a driver. Get yourself a turtle. Mike, get himself. Tiger Woods needs a turtle to drive him around. What?
Just get a Tesla. Dude. Hit the self-drive button. Come on.
Yeah, but he needs himself a turtle, Mike. If you don't know, watch Entourage. Every celebrity needs themselves a turtle. All right, Mike. Let's go with who took the heat and who didn't take the heat. I'm gonna say who didn't take the heat. Brandon Banta didn't take the heat, Mike. Both 584 in the round of I think one of the commentators today's show used a good analogy where it's like 4 guys getting chased by the bear. You can't be the slowest guy, and you don't have to be the fastest guy. Banta bowling 584 when all you have to do is not be the last person is definitely probably disappointing for sure for him, especially. But yeah, big moment, Bowl TV. Everybody's watching. Probably place I'd imagine was filled watching that match, and you just had struggled when the rest of everybody's bowling 660s and 700s.
Yeah, my choice here for not taking the heat was going to be Belmo. You know, I expect him to be the one handing out the heat and putting the pressure on the other player, and it didn't go that way towards the end of this event for him. So,
yeah, what did he shoot for a 3-game set? Was it like in the five something?
I don't remember the exact number, but
he was bowling good too.
Yeah, I just remember. I remember that leading up to that, he was bowling really well.
He was bowling great.
And the talk by the commentators was that, hey, you know, when Belmo can play the lanes this way, regardless of what ball he's using, he likes to play them this way. And they even did an interview with him where he said, oh, yeah, you know, I'm real comfortable with how I'm throwing it and, you know, what I'm doing, etc. And then, really disappointing end to the event for him. So, you know, again, like I just, you know, I expect one of the goats of the game to sort of be the one handing out the heat left and right. So to see a match go that way, a 3-game match go that way, where he was under the heat the whole time and could never really dig himself out of it. Not real good.
I gotta pull up some of these comments. Yo, Mason, what's up, man? Not taking the heat, Eric Jones and the Brunswick brand reps for having him throw reactive. He throws the Spire axe. He says he's winning a title. But yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. I know Eric Jones is questioning some of the decisions, but man, I think we talked about that right in the match of that. Sorry, I'm gonna bring up this one first. Jack Willerton, what's up, man? Buttriff couldn't handle the heat because he led the tournament and got eliminated pretty early on. It's a fair point. Alex James, in a 3-hour span, it went from Belmo was back to Belmo was washed. That's brutal, man. You fall quick. You fall quick in these days.
What have you done for me lately,
dude? That's tough. Anyway, okay. So who took the heat? I mean, I wanted to stay away from picking Boog, but I had to pick Boog, I think, for one of my awards, right? And you picked him for Ride With. I'm picking Boog for handle the heat. He Boog in today's show threw a lot of shots in really, really clutch times to win this show, especially in the 8th, 9th, and 10th frames of every match. It seemed that he was creating a double somewhere and making good shots to lock up matches, whatever he needed to do. But he threw a lot of clutch strikes today and made a lot of clutch spares too. And I can't stress that enough. How many spares he made that seemed effortless for him. Those 10 pins seemed effortless for him. Like he could close his eyes and make those 10s. Dude, that's a lot harder than it looks bowling for a major on live TV with everybody watching and it quiet and all that. And you got to get up and make a 10 pin. I can't imagine what's going on through people's heads, but you always see one or two missed spares in every show, Mike. And Boog just was really solid in that area. So
yeah, I was going to give this award to Matt Sanders for his performance throughout match play, because he was bowling for his tournament life for quite a while, and I was into a couple of his matches, and quite a few of his matches came down to must strike situations in the 9th and 10th frame, and I was just impressed that he kept getting it done and getting it done and getting it done, and so. Some of those matches cost me money, but that's okay. That's all right. I'll forgive him for that.
You'll deal with it.
So I was impressed by that, so I'll give it to him.
Got it. Okay, now we're gonna go to some of the more fun awards. I See You Haas. I have two separate I See You Haas awards, a runner-up and a winner, but I think you might have the runner-up that I have. So I'm gonna go and not say this person. But if you don't say it, then I'm going to bring it out as an honorable mention, okay? I'm going with Blake Walsh as I See You Haas, okay? Not only did he beat our boy, he beat
Cost me money there too, Blake. Thanks.
Blake
Don't know you,
Walsh,
but thanks.
who I don't know. I don't know Blake. I've never heard of him. This was the first time I've ever seen him bowl, ever seen his name. He beat Bill, Mike Martell, Nick Pate, and he almost beat Matt Sanders. He bowled 720 against Bill, 770, 783 in those 3 matches, and then lost to Matt Sanders bowling the 693 by like 3 or 4 pins. So I see you, Blake, man. What a tournament you had. You should be really proud of your performance and walking out of that building with your head held high for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I see you, Hoss. Dylan Bowers.
Oh, see, I didn't. All right, I'm gonna have an honorable mention then.
Okay, Dylan Bowers, East Coast kid, Delaware kid, lefty, finished second at a Eastern Regional recently. Bowled really good here, so I give it to him.
All right, honorable mention for I see you, Haas, Mike. Julian Salinas.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's
crushing it with the backup ball.
Good. That's a good one. He should be the winner, actually.
Should be the winner for sure.
Back up.
Back
it
up.
back up, bro.
Just great.
Crazy.
Just winning matches. I saw one match he was bowling using a yellow Sunstorm. You know, I would imagine that's the new release.
With the Fef in the building. What's up, Fef? He suggests Garrett Meadows. I don't have a problem with that. Jason Cantrell says Nate Garcia. I don't have a problem with that at all. Shout out to Nate. He had a great week this week. But yeah, Julian Salinas. Yeah,
just
really
talented,
crazy man, crazy
talent.
How much you got to be shooting in the gym to be as good throwing it back up as you are throwing it regularly? It's crazy.
Yeah, people. Tim Anders, what's up, man? Says my son goes to Mount Mercy. I don't know why people are so amazed by his backup. I've been watching this kid do this for 3 years every tournament. It's incredible in the sense that as a right-handed player that's not two-handed, it's unfathomable to throw a backup ball, let alone throw it competitively, and let alone throw it and make a run at the Masters. And I don't think
it's not so much that he's doing it; it's the level at which he's doing it.
Correct.
Right? Like anybody could go and try and throw a backup ball and strike with it, and maybe shoot a good game here and there. But to be bowling the damn USBC Masters and you're deep in match play and you're bowling against lefties
and beating them,
you're beating them, throwing it back up. I mean, God, right. No, come on.
That's incredible.
Sicko status.
And I think, and here's a hot take. I think that's going to be a very common thing we're going to see in bowling coming in the next 3 to 5 to even 10 years. We're going to see two-handers are going to be completely perfecting that backup. And you saw a couple of people like Simon won a regional throwing it back up, I believe, right? So I think you're going to see a lot of younger kids realize that how much of an advantage it is when the left side is really good. And vice versa. You're going to see lefty two-handers start throwing it on the right, too. I think you've seen Eric Jones do it. He's really good at doing that, or is it Dio Bernard? One of the two.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a thing. And I don't know how to really think of that. I think it's really, it takes a lot of talent and a lot of versatility to be able to do that. Yeah. So, all right, Mike, let's go Milk Carton. I think we might have the same answer for Milk Carton.
We better have the same answer.
It's got to be Parker Bone, right?
Got to be Parker Bone. No doubt.
Parker Bone. I'm glad we got
to be Parker Bone. No
but
doubt. Love seeing Parker make the cut, bro.
My guy, Parker, man.
Love seeing Parker in match play. Him and his son almost bowled each other. If Brandon could have beat Steve Novak, cost me money on that one too, Brandon. But if Brandon could have beat Steve Novak, he would have bowled his dad. That would have been wild.
Now let me ask you though. Hypothetically that happens. Is Parker laying down for his son?
No, I'm not.
No, right?
I'm trying to come out and whip his ass, son. If I'm bowling my son, I'm trying to whip his ass.
Yeah.
And let him hear about it for a long time. No doubt.
Hey, I'm just saying, Parker, I could just see he's such a nice guy. But I think that would be a really entertaining match. Imagine, and I'm thinking about it on my own. Imagine bowling your dad, Mike, and you're clapping out strikes in his face and like running out strikes. And I think the old man would whip me up 44, and I would get whipped by the old man on my way home. You know, and I definitely not. If I beat my old man, you better ask. No, I'm not. I'm paying for that dinner bill. To like, he's not. That would be crazy though. The father bowl the son? I don't think has that ever happened? Is there any bowling historian?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that would be like crazy. I don't think that's ever happened, but I'd be curious to see if there's any record of that. Alex James says PDW and Dick had some fierce matches. Was that actually on PBA tournaments? Because that would be pretty interesting. I never knew that. Yeah. All right, Mike. Last but not least, I always save dumpster diving for the last.
Oh, this week is like dumpster diving.
So here's my rule for dumpster diving. I have a rule for dumpster diving. I'm not giving a dumpster diving award to somebody who's not on full-time tour. I'm not giving a dumpster diving for somebody who signed up, who's an amateur, who wanted to just get their feet wet at a major, went 800 under, average 130. But I feel like it's got to be somebody who's bowls full time. And my dumpster diving, I think, really there's only really one correct answer here, in my opinion. I think it has to go to Marshall Kent, Mike. It has to go to Marshall Kent. The kid literally just won a PBA event, literally just won a title, Mike, and finished 262nd and went plus 12 when the whole field was just completely like scores were bonkers to a certain degree. So usually
I was going to say Richie Teese.
Oh,
he was actually the lowest full-time professional tour finisher. So I feel like that's who it has to go to in Masters Week.
Yeah, but I would say that usually, like when you just win a pro event, Mike.
I know. I'm just giving a different suggestion.
Yeah. Usually the pocket's a lot bigger after you win a PBA event. No.
Yeah. Victor All says, does Kevin Williams just live in the dumpster? The lefties tore it up except him.
He's having a tough year. He's having a tough year.
Brutal.
Yeah, this was the week the lefties needed to get it. If you were a lefty, you needed to get it this week. And if you didn't get it and you were a lefty, and I'm talking full-time pros, Mike. I'm not talking about amateurs who bowl once a week. I'm talking full-time professional exempt players, lefty. If you didn't at least get into the 64 or close to it, I don't know what to tell you, Mike. I don't know what to tell you. I think you got to like reevaluate at this point, like what you're doing. But yeah, tough week if you are a lefty and full time and didn't even come close to making the top 64. But anyway, all right, Mike, that's our awards. Anything else you want to talk about before we do worst of the week on this week or the major for the Masters?
No, we're good.
We're all good. Okay, let's wrap this up and get the worst of the week.
You want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first because mine's an easy one.
Okay.
People who was at the show today yelled during EJ Tackett's approach for that last shot that he threw, the first shot attempt that he struck. What the hell was that? I need to know what happened, or if that was someone fighting, was someone distracting, was it just didn't know the time and place to yell? Because that girl or woman wins worst of the week. And a Jimmy from the Re 10, Mike, says that you got this girl. Is that what they yelled during EJ's when he was about? You got this, girl? That's what he what? That doesn't make any sense. Like I don't I have so many questions about that whole deal. And Victor says they're going to assume alcohol was part of it. Yeah, but I can't give them a pass for that because even when you're at a bowling event and you're drunk, you know that you got to be quiet when they're like on the approach, right? Like I could be blacked out and hammered, and I probably would be quiet. I wouldn't say anything. So I don't know. A very drunk man in a bright yellow shirt, but it was a woman who yelled it. No, Mike, is that what you heard?
Yes.
I heard it was a woman that yelled. That's what you hear on from at least on the when you were like watching on from home. Oh, it says you got this squirrel. Is that what they yelled right when she was about to throw the ball to try to win a major? Oh man, you know what I thought? I thought, man, imagine if he was like in his backswing and she yelled that. Oh my god, like that would have been wild finish.
Would that be grounds for the second bogey in modern PBA history? I mean, we all remember that Bob Learn had a bogey in his great performance in Erie, yes, against Parker Bone.
That's a good question. Hypothetically, would they have given him another shot if someone yelled in a backswing that was pretty blatant and obvious? Is that something that the PBA could like come back and say, you know what, like he gets a do-over?
Okay. I
think Wermy got a great comment here. Bolero owns Thunderbowl. That's an expensive day drinking. Yeah, no shit. Can't imagine. I was there, CB Princess. Likely as he was on the approach, that's why he backed off. A man screamed, EJ, it's your time to shine, baby girl. And some kid yelled back, he's not a girl. What was CB Princess? What was happening in that crowd? Was that just a ruckus crowd? Man, because it sounds like a crowd that I would have wanted to been a part of. Yo, Skid Hook Roll says Jason Couch got a redo versus Ricky Ward in Reno. I don't remember that. Do you remember that, Mike?
No, I don't remember that one.
Is that something on YouTube? You could probably
check it out.
Yeah, that's a
great reference, Skid Roll Hook. I don't remember that one. I remember the Bob Learn one though. It's the only one I remember.
Yeah, you always talk about that Mulligan.
This is one of the things I liked about the vibe of the show today. I liked that there were multiple people yelling random things like CB Princess 900 says. Yeah.
Needs a Kinney says Sunday Walmart crowd.
Okay.
I don't mind the Walmart crowd, man. It's hype.
Okay, Skid Roll Hook says he has a YouTube channel, I guess, and it's on there.
Yeah,
the match is on there. Okay,
all right.
Post it up somewhere. Skid Roll Hook, tag us.
Yo, throw that plug,
right,
man.
I'm gonna do my my worst of the week here because my leg is getting sore from sitting in this position for this long. I apologize. My worst of the week comes from the Motive Bowling social media page. And it's by Troy Paler. Sorry, Troy, you won worst of the week this week. So Troy puts a post up, and it has a few pictures. The pictures have all Motive equipment in it. All right, we're talking three ball rollers filled with Motive bowling balls, and all the 3-ball rollers are Motive rollers, and then 3 separate Motive backpacks. I don't know why you would need 3 Motive backpacks, Troy, but they're all 3 backpacks, all the same. And here's his post, okay? He says, when I say all Motive everything, I mean it. Okay? That's how he starts his post. So you could already see why I'm giving him worst of the week. But he continues, here is my full arsenal. I'm trying to put together a good 3-ball bag for each to get me through all 3 games as they break down. What 3 would you all recommend to be competitive for a full set? I'm currently a 215 average bowler that throws one-handed, no thumb around 15 miles per hour. Any ideas or suggestions would be greatly appreciated. I mean, there are so many things that I could say about that post in terms of worst of the week. A 215 average bowler with 9 balls and 3 backpacks? Okay, I don't know about that. Him saying he wants to put a bag together that would get me through all 3 games as they break down, well, then bring all 9 balls, bro. Or better yet, bring 1 Venom Shock. Bring 1 Venom Shock. Better yet, bring a plastic ball. Yes, Bill Morrison, bring a plastic ball. Bring a sniper. Bring a motive sniper. Clearly, that's one of the best ones, right? So, definitely worst of the week to me there. That's what I got. All right, Rob, let's wrap it up.
All right, let's do it. I'm still trying to.
Says motive. People are flirting with cult territory.
I'm trying to think what you need three book bags for.
I don't know. It's a lot of book bags.
What are you doing? I'm more interested about what's in the 3 bags than anything.
I hear you.
That's a lot of accessories. That's a lot of rosin bags and tape, Mike. I don't know. True. I have 1 bag. I carry a fan, a rosin bag, a hand conditioner. I have inserts, all my tools. 1 bag. I don't know what the hell you need the other 2 for. People still talking about the mulligan in the chat. Man, after Learn and Erie, the mulligan was changed. Interesting. Shoe Thumbs Booze. That's probably a good one. Yeah, I forgot about the booze. All right, Mike.
My final thought, Rob, is that I wish Born to Bowl were on Sunday nights and not Monday nights. I also wish that HBO would just release all 5 episodes so I could watch all of them at one time, but they're not doing that. So
yeah,
that's my final thought.
Yeah, I wish they were an hour episodes too. And maybe next season they'll have more episodes. Do you know, is there any talk about if they're following the same pros? I know they're following EJ.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really.
If they're bringing in anybody new
into it very much.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, my final thought is this week is a little bit of an interesting format for the Pilgrims PBA Ohio Classic, which is going to be in Columbus Square Bowling Palace in Columbus, Ohio. I don't think there is a PTQ, Mike, Monday.
Okay.
I don't see any PTQ information. So I'm not sure if they're just how that is going on, if they're letting anybody enter, if it's an open tournament, at least for like PBA members, whatever. But it is elimination rounds. So weird that they're running 4 qualifying rounds of 6 games each. So 24 total qualifying games. Then they cut to the 1-3 for a classic elimination round, and the pins carry over. But they don't really say what the elimination is going to be. But essentially, they get to the top 16. So they're taking 1 and 3, and then they're cutting to top 16. And then they're doing another elimination round for 6 games, and then cutting to the top 5. So it's just the like carryover elimination type format with no match play. So I don't know if I'm really a big fan of that format. And I'm curious what they're doing with if they're having a PTQ, but it doesn't look that way. I'm trying to find any information here. Looks like they're having 120 maximum field is what they're allowing. So, and they're doing like there's a priority eligibility, like they have a bunch of criteria, Mike. Real quick, top 75 from the 2025 PBA Tour point list, top 3 from collegiate points, top 3 finishers from the 2025 regional players, RPIs, PBA National Tour champions within the past 10 years, Hall of Famers, PBA Tour medical exemptions and commissioner exemptions. Remaining entries for the PBA Open. PBA members without prior entry status will be eligible to enter beginning January 5th. Entries will be accepted in order they received. So it looks like it's just like if there's open spots, you get in. If not, then that's it. So it doesn't look like there's any PTQ, as well as good call out, Yellow Magic. There's also the USA versus the World this week. So you guys need to check that out. I'm never really interested in those USA versus the World shows. I really don't have any really motivation or ambition to watch them, but I know a lot of people do like them. That's about it, Mike. I think
Okay,
we're good.
no doubt. All right, Rob, we're going to wrap it up. We appreciate everybody joining us, obviously. Great event today. Great event this week. I thought it was awesome week to me. This is one of the best weeks in bowling.
It really is.
Hit us up. Yeah, hit us up with the emails. SweepTheRack at Gmail. If you want to reach out to us, we appreciate the emails. Check us out on social media. We do most of our social media talking on X. He's at Brooklyn Rob 11. I'm at the 215th. But we are Sweep the Rack everywhere, so check us out there. If you want to pick up some merch, go to InsideBowling.com. Content creators, Sweep the Rack, use the code PatchPirate for 15% off. We will see everybody next week, I will assume. Yes, Rob?
Yeah, we should be okay for next week.
Okay, no doubt. We'll be back next week. We only got a few more weeks of regular CW PBA competition, so it'll be interesting to see how things go in the final weeks here. Everybody enjoy watching this week. Born to Bowl tomorrow night, HBO. Check it out if you got it. We'll be talking about that episode on our next episode, so stay up with us on that too, and we'll see everybody next week.
Later, guys.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.